right. Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you for the invitation and for organizing this, this great event. Just to tell you a very little bit about myself, I have a background in classical music and in music teaching. I completed a PG, postgraduate diploma in orchestral performance at the Royal College of Music in London, and then played for quite a few years with the Orchestra of the National Ballet of the Netherlands. I always taught music on the side because it's kind of a requirement as a professional musician, but also a great opportunity. And I always enjoyed and loved doing it. And then one day I got called and invited to go and join a school in Qatar that delivered the PYP program. Not really knowing anything about it, it was quite an adventure for me and my family, but I loved it from day one and totally embraced it. After that, I've been in Malaysia for the last 3 years, and now I am in Tirana in Albania as a PYP coordinator. This is my first experience as a PYP coordinator, having been mostly just a music teacher, but also a specialist coordinator. I completed my international PGCE with the University of Sunderland, as well as a master's degree in international education. And I have led workshops internationally in Spain, the Netherlands, Malaysia, and different places, and also online. So what is the purpose for today's session? What are our guiding questions? What I would like for us to be able to answer today is, do we have a clear idea of the overall purpose of music as part of the education process? What is the role of music within the education process? And then, how can we use music to teach beyond the fun element and support the development of transferable skills and conceptual understanding? Very often, the idea of music and the arts and PE is that they are just subjects that kids are doing for fun and that are kind of a little bit of a breather of your core subject, more important elements. But I do strongly believe that all of those subjects have a very, very important role to play, and that we can teach beyond that fun element, and we can support the development of other skills and understanding. So let's establish then a purpose. This all came to me from a question at an interview that I was having for a job, where the principal asked me, so Fernando, tell me, why do we teach music at schools? And very, very quickly, my reaction was, well, my question would be, why do we teach so little music at school? And that question, however, stuck in my mind and made me think, well, I probably need to have a better answer than that. And I need to establish a clear purpose. So I would like to, for us to reflect on how important it is for us to define our purpose. Many of you might be familiar with Simon Sinek's Golden Circle and how he explains that we need to define our why before we go into how we do something and what we are actually doing. So let me bring it out to you and then say in the chat, can you please write down in as few words as possible why you teach, if you're just a classroom teacher or whatever subject you teach, and in particular, what would be the purpose, your purpose as a music teacher? So if you had to answer that question, why music?
So let's bring back our active participants while people are tapping in the chat. Do you want to switch your videos on? And let's hear from our online participants. So Rensing, do you want to unmute and tell us your purpose?
For the purpose for teaching music, I think for myself is to share my passion for music to the next generation. I personally have benefited from a very early music background within my family. There are lots of singing and piano playing and instrument playing. Was exposed to many chances of exploring different kinds of instruments, as well as attending different concerts and recitals. So that created in me a lot of happy memories, and I like to share that with the future generation. Yeah.
Fernando, some great comments in the chat. One says music is the only subject that activates the whole brain. One, I love this few words that you asked for. Music calms little kids down. That is amazing. But my favorite one is music helps people discover their sensible side. So SJ, what motivates you? What's your purpose as a music teacher?
Kristen, I think to make good people, to inspire young learners, and to also make them aware of their own creative side. I would say, and not last not but the least, I would say I love music and I love to share my passion as well.
Okay. And so we have also music is universal, music makes life easy, music is important in the formation of personality. Anila, what would you like to designate as your purpose as a music teacher?
As a PYP educator, I think there's a lot of math involved in music because there are patterns there. It helps children to understand math as well. Also, I have seen it helps in speech therapy as well. So when they sing, I think there is some connection there, and the kids start performing better when they use music.
Thanks, Anila. This is not short, but it is awesome. Angelique says, I want children to have equitable access to music education, whether they grow up to be professional musicians or not. Music gives everyone joy, supports growth across the domains, and awakens their creativity. Ah, oh, so beautiful. Kim, what's your purpose as a music teacher?
My purpose is to help broaden students' perspective, let them see different cultures. They can see the similarities in the music of their culture versus other cultures. So for me, it's more about broadening perspectives, making more rounded students.
So much there, Fernando. Back to you.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Thanks for your contributions, everyone. So what is my purpose? How did I come to that, to answer the question, why music? And it came to me just down to two words that hopefully encompass everything that has been said. So these two words are inspire and empower. And these are the words that guide pretty much everything that I do. When I am designing an activity, when I am delivering an activity, I ask myself, is this inspiring? Is this empowering? Am I helping my students appreciate those cultural differences that Kim was talking about? Am I empowering them to be creative, like SJ was saying? Am I engaging all of those parts of the brain that we are discussing can be engaged through music? And for me, this is a really good compass to check that I am going in the right direction and that what I'm doing is actually purposeful. So, do my students understand that though? Can I say to them, well, I'm doing this, we're doing this because I'm trying to inspire and empower you? Well, that is a bit difficult when you're talking to a 6-year-old. So I had to bring it down to things that they could understand. So we discussed this and we discussed this in class. Why are we doing this? So one of the main reasons is that music is fun. I don't want to take away the fun element of music, of course not. So music can be inspiring by making us enjoy something and have those experiences like Renzi was saying a minute ago. Music makes you smart. And this is, as Anila was saying, talking about the empowerment, all of those connections with your brain. There's a very interesting video here that explains all the research that has been done in that area. And then finally, music is a universal language that helps us express ideas and emotions and connect in many different ways. This is a combination of inspiring and empowering. So it's appreciating the diversity, all the creative possibilities that it gives us, but also to develop the skills to be able to utilize that in a meaningful and purposeful way. So how do we transfer this into teaching then? How can we integrate all of these purposes and put it into what is something that we are going to teach? So music is fun, it's easy, and it's straightforward. So we teach music, we do songs, dances, games, activities that are engaging and the children are enjoying. Music makes you smart. It's not too hard because it's all about music. We teach about the processes, the skills that we need to succeed. So practice routines, theory, history, cultural elements, all of these elements that are about music and are around the subject of music that we're all familiar with. But the final one, the one that is talking about the universal language and helping us to express ideas and emotions and connect in different ways, it's a little trickier because it becomes a bigger context. And I like to call this teaching through music. So the aim is to explicitly, and this is a word that I will be coming back to many times during this session, to explicitly transcend the subject by contextualizing what we do and giving it a broader and deeper value. So we are still totally connected to music. We are still teaching music and about music, but we are using music to transcend the subject. We're going beyond the subject. So What do we teach then when we teach music? What are the different elements that are present? It's all about finding the balance between the knowledge, the skills, and the concepts. So we need to develop all three of them. Students need to have a knowledge of music. That is going to empower them to create meaningfully and purposefully. They need to develop the skills to utilize that knowledge. They need to actually have the physical capacity to do things like singing in tune, playing in tempo, choosing the right notes that they're going to use for the different activities. But this needs to be connected to concepts that are the ones that are going to help them transcend the subject and put it within a meaningful and purposeful context. So what are the teachings that can go beyond those music-specific knowledge and skills? Concepts are one of them. So the concepts are big ideas that help us understand the world in a deeper and more connected way. These concepts are universal and timeless, and they're not culturally bound, so they can be learned in any context and in any domain and area of the world. There are many concepts that can be explored through music. If you are working within a PYP environment, you have the 7 key concepts that guide our curriculum. But if you're not working in a PYP environment, you can still work through the same or other ones that you choose. So we've got form, connection, structure, perspective, responsibility, change, and so on. What else can we teach that is besides music-specific knowledge and skills? There are many transferable skills that are not necessarily musical skills that students can acquire and develop through music. They take different names and structures depending on your curriculum setting. Some places in the PYP, we call it approaches to learning. In other curriculum, they call it 21st century skills or soft skills. But generally, we can recognize them under 5 categories related to self-management, social, thinking, research, and communication. So we're going to put this into action. We're going to play a game called concentration, and I'm going to show you how we can integrate all of these further elements and all of these areas, and we can still use music to learn other things, other concepts, other skills. So we are going to put into action the learning through music. So this is a simple chant that just goes concentration. Concentration is the game. Keep the rhythm just the same. Okay, so I'm going to ask our live participants to join with their video. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that everybody can see us nice and big, and we will engage on this now. Thank you for joining back. I've got Anila and SJ Kim. I think we're still missing a couple. Oh, Rensing can't start the video. And Claire.
We can just start. They can join in when they can.
Okay, so Rensing is just here. Okay, so how I would, sorry, just let me get myself in the mix. There we go. So, so we're going to start just with a simple pattern that requires us just to do 4 movements. Generally, in a classroom setting, we would do that. We would do this on our legs. If you can tap your legs, that's fine. Otherwise, you can use the table. It's a 4-sequence movement that goes 1, clap, click, click. Table, clap, click, click. So you can join me on this one, just to practice a bit. Thank you very much. So this is one of the hardest things that I've found teaching online is the synchronization. So as a music teacher or as any other type of teacher, it's virtually impossible to do something together because by the time I see you do it, it has gone off balance. So we need to get our heads around that and try to devise things that don't require for us to do things together. So I'm going to chant and then you chant after me. Concentration.
Concentration.
Thank you. If you guys can unmute yourself so that we can hear it, even if it's going to be a little noisy, that's fine. It'll be a little more fun. Okay, the next one is concentration is the game.
Concentration is
the game.
Keep the rhythm.
Keep the rhythm.
Keep the rhythm just the same.
Keep the rhythm just the same.
Very good. So now we're going to pass around our names. We will say our name 2 times. First time when we tap on the table. Second time when we clap, and then we say someone else's name as we click, and again as we click. So, for example, if I start, I would say Fernando, Fernando, Anila, Anila. And then Anila will pass it to someone else and say Anila, Anila, Claire, Claire, and so on. Okay? Clear for everybody? All right, so we chant together at the beginning. It's gonna be beautifully messy, but we don't mind because we are having a good time. And then I'll kick off the game. Ready, and off we go. Concentration, concentration is the key. Keep the rhythm, just the same. Fernando, Fernando, Claire, Claire.
Claire, Claire, Anila, Anila.
Claire, Claire.
Are you Claire? I thought you were Anila.
Oh, sorry.
You say your name first.
Okay.
Great.
Yes.
Okay, pick it up again, Anila. You pick it up.
Yes. Anila, Anila, Kim, Kim.
Kim, Kim. Kim, Kim, SJ, SJ.
SJ, SJ, Rensing, Rensing.
Rinsing, Fernando, Fernando.
Fernando, Fernando, Rensing,
Rinsing, Claire, Claire.
Claire, Claire, SJ, SJ.
SJ, SJ, Anila, Anila.
Anila, Anila, Kim, Kim.
Kim, Kim, Kirsten, Kirsten.
Is Kirsten there? I can see her.
On behalf of Kristen.
Kirsten. Rinsing.
Rinsing, SJ.
SJ, SJ, Fernando, Fernando.
Great. Thank you very much for sending it back my way. Right. I would like to take the opportunity just to say, first of all, thank you, those of you that are joining here. I did ask them to make mistakes, but I think some of them have been genuine mistakes, so not forced ones. So this is just an example of things that happen, kids that are not there, names that come in the wrong place. It's always a great opportunity to engage in something active from the students and actually discuss why these things have happened. So I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen. Thank you very much, guys. You can hide your videos now for a minute. Thank you. Right, so what are then why concentration? So what would be the further purpose of concentration that goes beyond just having fun? So the concept that can be addressed explicitly, and coming back to this word. So there is a big one here on responsibility. So it is all about following the rules of the game, include everyone. So it can happen, and it does happen often, that the students will go, girls will go for girls, boys will go for boys, best friends will only say each other's names, and we need to talk about that. And it's an opportunity to say, okay, how do we make sure that everybody is enjoying the game? How do we take care of each other? How do we integrate everyone? What is my personal responsibility to contribute to the game? And it's very interesting to see how, as you play the game a few times, a lot of these issues and a lot of these ideas are integrated within the actions that the students take. And it's very nice to see. You can work on showing sportsmanship because you can play the game in a competitive way. So if somebody makes a mistake, they are out of the game, and then they have to deal with having made a mistake and being out of the game. If you are in an environment that you think that's going to be positive, then it is a good opportunity to talk about those ideas. So what are the skills that can be identified explicitly once again? So it's not about let's play the game and see what happens, but let's reflect. Let's talk about what are the skills that I need to be able to succeed. And students are very responsive to these. And when they get used to analyzing that, I think it's a great opportunity for them to develop skills like self-management. So follow the rules, stay focused in what you're doing. Very often, especially in an online environment, grandma is talking to them, they're eating a banana, they're getting out of their pajamas, or you don't know what's going to happen. So it's a good opportunity for them to work on their capacity to stay focused and concentrate. They need to manage their actions, be ready when it's your turn. Make sure that you are following the game as it is. Communication, keep your ears open, listen attentively, speak clearly. And it's a good opportunity for these presentation skills of saying, oh, I just have to say 2 names, but I'm finding it very hard. And finally, social skills, wait for your turn. Include everyone, be aware of what other people are doing and what other people are feeling throughout the game. These are all, both the concepts and the skills, ideas that need to be explicitly talked about, and use music to identify them and put them into action. So I would like to throw out the question to everyone. How could you use this within your context? Have you got any ideas? Have you got something you would like to add or ask or comment on?
So we got a lot of people, Fernando, saying it's a wonderful activity and you just make it look so easy. And we have Rebecca has already said the oldest ones, the best ones are timeless, which is so cool. Because I can remember doing this with my kids when I first started. I wasn't even teaching music. I was just actually teaching concentration. So, you know, it is like, it's a really great. So somebody's saying, Oksana's saying working with syllables. And Laura is saying it can help even with vocabulary because you can do the sequencing with the syllables. Ratner says doesn't need to be limited to a music class, it can be so much more. Noble saying it helps with like staying on beat, and it's like a get to know you warm up.
Yeah,
and
you don't need to do even names. You could adapt it to anything. So you could say animals, you could say connection of ideas. And
that's right. And Kushbu is saying the same thing. She's saying they could give examples of the concept, verbs, nouns, all sorts of things. So lots of applications there. I think it's a great share and a great reminder that sometimes simplicity is the key.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Kirsten. So we're going to move on to something else. We're going to move this time into, we're going to do it the other way around. Instead of playing the game first and then talking about what could we teach explicitly, I'm going to show you how I would introduce an activity for my students to identify that purpose and to identify the process that we are going to use, what are the skills that we're going to utilize, and then I will explain what we're doing. So first, what is it that we're doing? We are going to learn how to read rhythms. So this is a very simple learning objective that the students can understand. Why are we going to do this? And this is where I'm going to try to get them to understand the purpose of what we're doing. So we want to understand how music notation works. So I'm already talking here about a concept. Within a PYP environment, I'm talking about function. If I'm in a different curriculum, I could be talking about how something works. I can be talking about notation, the concept of notating through symbols. And this will help us to create our own music and read the music created by others. So this is my way of empowering students. If they understand that if they learn to play rhythms and read them properly, they will be able to create and they will be able to read someone else's music. Also, practicing rhythms will also help us to keep the beat better and be more accurate when we sing or play. This is again the connection with music makes you smart. So if you are using rhythms within a beat environment, then your brain will be working at many different levels that will be beneficial for you. So finally, I will identify, before we start, I will identify what are the skills that we need to be able to succeed within this activity. So we all need to observe carefully. These are research skills. So when you are looking at different ideas, you need to be able to observe and be clear on what it is that you're looking for. Then we need to think about the name and the duration of each symbol. I must remember, I need to use my thinking skills. I must remember what is the name for each symbol. And then I need to stay focused and respond on time. So I need to manage my own actions. So these are the different rhythms that we're going to be using. When we look at these rhythm values, in my class, and if you have worked in music with the Kodai system for rhythm, you would read the first one saying tu, which is a long one. The second one, you would say ta, 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 ta. The next one, that are two of them linked together, you would say ti, 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 ti. And when you have four of them with two lines across, we would call them toca, 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 toca. So they get shorter in duration, which means that they sound faster when you are saying them in sequence. So this first one, for example, we would say ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. And our cycle would be to start by saying the rhythms, then we would say and clap, and then only clap. This facilitates the internalization of the activity, because we are moving from saying something that is very direct from us to interiorizing it and then putting externally into an instrument, which would be the clapping part. So we would say ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, then say and clap, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, and finally only clap. Okay, so the next one would be this one, and I invite you all to do it together with me if you like. I'm going to start by saying, ready, go, ti, ti, ta, toca, toca, ta. Then say and clap, ready, go, ti, ti, ta, toca, toca, ta. And only clap. And let's try one last one that goes, ready, go, toca, toca, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti. Say and clap, toca, toca, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti. Only clap. So based on this, we're going to do a little game in a minute. But before that, I would like to test my active participants and see if they've got it. So if you guys can activate yourselves one more time so that we can see you and I can assess you quickly on your knowledge of rhythm. And here they're back. Thank you very much. So if we do, this is a good assessment tool that you can just see what is the understanding and the skills of your students on a particular topic, like rhythm in this case. So remember, only say and clap, only clap. All right, Claire, maybe you can start.
T, 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 ta, ta. T, 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 ta, ta.
Excellent, very good. Thank you very much, Claire. Let's see how Rensing is doing with this one. Great, thank you.
Do I say some more?
Yeah, say and clap now.
Ta, ti, 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 ta.
Excellent, and only clapping. Very good, thank you. Now, sometimes the microphones don't pick up very well, so it's hard for me to hear, but if I can see your claps, then I can figure out that you've got it or not. So well done, that was great. SJ.
Yeah. Yes. Ti, ti, toca, toca, ta, ti, ti.
Very good. Remember, SJ, we said first say and clap, only clap.
Ti, ti, toca, toca, ta, ti, ti.
Very good. And now make sure that is one sound, one clap. So toca, toca is 4 claps.
Ti, ti, toca, toca, ta, ti, ti.
Did you do 4 claps for toca, toca?
No.
Try again.
Ti, ti, toca, toca, ta, ti, ti.
Much better. And only clap. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Kim, you want to have a go?
Okay. Toca, toca, ti, ti, toca, toca, ti, ti, toca, toca, ti, ti, toca, toca, ti, ti.
Excellent, very good. And she went all the way through from one to the next. Fantastic. So you probably saw, you guys stay there for a minute. You probably saw how I had on my slides, the next slide was this, which is an extension for this activity, which is called Forbidden Rhythm. So we're gonna play the game Forbidden Rhythm. This is an extension into understanding the rhythms that we're using. I'm gonna bring my my music stand here. I hope everyone can see the rhythm. So this is our forbidden rhythm. So you are not allowed to clap this rhythm, okay? When you see this rhythm, I want you to mock me, something like this. Yeah, so this is a forbidden rhythm. You cannot clap it. I will clap a bunch of rhythms for you to copy back. If you hear this rhythm, you mock me. If you hear anything else, you copy back. Okay? I'm gonna play this once, only once, so that you know what it sounds like and you don't copy it back. Okay? So this is toca, 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 ti, ti, ta. Is it clear?
Nana, can you do it again, because the video is a little bit fast? Could you do it a little bit more slower so people can see your hands clearly?
Oh, you mean to clap slower?
Yeah, because the connection was a little bit blurry, so it looked like it was hard.
Great. So this rhythm goes toca, 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 ti, ti, ta. And this is the one rhythm that you're not allowed to clap back. Any other rhythm, you clap back. Okay, but I'm not going to say, it's only going to be clapping. All right? So if you can unmute yourselves now so that we can see and hear what you're doing. And when you hear this one, you mock me. All right, let's go. Very good, that wasn't it? Good, you are very rude, but very clever. Thank you, well done.
Fernando, one of the participants is putting words to this. He's saying avocado, avocado, cherry, beet.
I saw that. Yes, that's a good way of getting students to start connecting, and that's a good way. That would be a great extension to work on, to look at how can we connect syllables to specific rhythm patterns. So we can leave this one there. I think it worked out well. Everybody got it? Thank you very much. And I'll get back to the presentation right now. Thank you. So, as we were saying, you just identified some possible extensions. There are further extensions. We just looked at adding syllables or sentences to them. You can add body percussion, assigning a move to each rhythmic value. So, for example, let me just make myself visible so that I can show you what this means. So adding body percussion, for example, ta can always be a clapping, ti can be on the chest, ti, and toca can be on the legs, toca. So students are reading and they are engaging their bodies as well, and they can identify those much better. You can do the same, but with instruments or with objects. So you play a specific rhythmic figure. If it's at home, you can play it with a spoon on the table, and you can click on a glass and then use a saucepan for a different rhythm. So you can use those. You can clap or play the rhythms along with a given song. So you are playing a song in the background and you're reading these rhythms or moving using these rhythm cards. And this is enhancing their communication skills by having to listen to the music and connect the rhythm to that beat. They can then create their own rhythmic patterns and lead these activities. This is getting them to be creative, using the knowledge that they've acquired, but also their social skills and their capacity to lead and be led. You can work on rhythm dictation, so they write the patterns that you give them, and then they are again working on their communication skills. So if we move on to the next one, can you see this within your setting, in your context? Is this something you've done before? Is it something that you can see potential for? Is it clear? Are there any questions?
I'm not seeing any questions, Fernando.
Excellent.
Just a lot of enthusiasm in the chat. People really making connections to what we're doing, and like delighted to have the opportunity to.
Lovely to hear that. Thank you, Kirsten. So we'll move on, and we're going to move on to a different activity. This one is connected to movement. Again, I'm going to try to model the same way. What are we going to do? Why are we doing it? How are we going to do it? So we're going to move to these songs. We're going to dance. We're going to be moving. We're going to be using our bodies. Why are we doing this? First, because dancing is super fun and is good for your health. So at this, especially if you're working with younger children, they still love to move around. They understand that it's something that it helps them to connect in a more meaningful way with each other and with the world around them. And they also know it's good for them, it's good for their health. But also, it is a great way to express ourselves non-verbally and to connect our bodies, our minds, and our souls. So what I want to do here quite explicitly is for them to observe carefully what the leader is doing. Again, we're talking about observation, the capacity to analyze what we're looking at, and our capacity to stay focused and try our best to copy. This is where, again, the skill development is coming. I do want my students to have a strong sense of beat. I do want them to be able to move accurately to what they're doing, because this is going to improve their musical skills. And then we are trying to transcend that by thinking, what are our bodies expressing? How are we expressing a particular feeling, a particular emotion, a particular idea? So I've learned and I've realized that using movement during an online setting is actually very, very useful, and it works very well, because you can play a video of somebody that is leading a dance, and then everybody's hearing it at the same time, and they're copying the movements in the real time. So we're doing something together without the need to actually have that synchronization. So what I'm going to do in this one is I'm playing a video that is online. This is a very good musician and composer called John Jacobson, and there is a whole bunch of songs that he leads. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just play it. I'm going to make this gallery view visible so that anybody that is part of that, or you can make me visible. Kirsten, I can't make myself visible for some reason. Oh, here it is. I can show myself. I will be dancing as well, and anybody that wants to join in and shake about a little bit, feel free. And you can find a spot that's got a bit of space for you, and then we can all do it together.
Everybody, snap with me. Up to the left, right, down, up. Now the reggae hand jive. Here we go. Flick, flick, flick. Point, point, point. Snaps, snaps again. Flick, two, flick, flick, flick. Point, point, point. It's a happy song. And flick, 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 flick. Point, point, point. Snap, snap. Once more. Flick. Now watch me. Here I go. Girls, join me. Guys, come on. It's happy. It's a ridiculous song. Keep your legs straight. Just swinging back and forth. And stop hopping, repeating, and the reggae hand jive. Snap. Again, turn, flick, flick, flick. Snaps. Once more. Flicks. High to low. Last time. Turn it over. Flick. Here comes the fun part. Me first. And girls, join me. Boys, come on. Do it big enough so you don't get ahead of the beat. And make sure you smile. It's all about happiness. Now everybody be quiet. Shh. Wagging your finger. Now real loud sway and clap. Go. Wag your finger and
Don't worry, be happy.
Clap first and let it float down.
Fantastic. Wow. I could only see a few people here, but it was lovely to see all those smiles. And I think that everybody would agree that if you have engaged in this for the last, I think it was about 2.5 minutes, you will feel a little bit happier than you did 3 minutes ago, which is great. And this is what it's all about. It has been fantastic to work with kids on this and get their families joining in, and sisters and brothers and grandparents, and it's wonderful. And I think that in days like this, when we are challenged with having to stay at home, I think bringing this possibility of just engaging through something active and something that is, as I said, engaging your mind, your body, and your soul, I think it's very, very important and one of our main responsibilities. So yeah, this is a great opportunity also then to talk to students actually about.
This reminds me of something you said earlier.
Say that again, Kirsten, sorry.
Somebody said earlier, somebody mentioned in the chat earlier about music bringing people together, and that really connects with this. And I think it's significant because often as educators, particularly with online learning, there's been criticism with teachers using other people's resources and pre-created content, but it's not what we use, it's how we use it and why we use it, the purpose that you tuned us into. And then we can take that on. We can have kids come up with their own rhythms. We can have kids get on TikTok or Flipgrid or whatever, create their own sequences. So, you know, like, don't be afraid to go and reach for other people's content. And it's lovely to see people pointing up in the chat other resources that can be used. So thank you for taking us in that direction.
That's brilliant. So in conclusion, what I was hoping that we could address today was that music can be a lot more than just fun. There are many more elements that can be explicitly introduced within our music classes. That defining a purpose to what we do can help us create learning experiences that transcend our subject. But we need to have that purpose clear from the start. And finally, that if we address the why and the how we are learning explicitly, will help our students develop the deeper understanding and transferable skills. So this understanding and these skills will only happen if they are addressed explicitly and students are aware of what they are doing.